Hi guys, welcome back to Tea with Temi. I'm still at it. This would be my first advice piece, if you like. This is all still very new to me, but I'm excited. I'm excited to be sharing, finally. I'm excited to be sharing my light of wisdom with the world. I'm not sure who is going to need it, but whoever it does, I hope and I pray that it blesses you just as much as it's blessed me. I hope everybody is doing well today. Please bear with me as I get used to being in front of this whole camera malarkey and having my face on show, as they say, and just giving you you guys some nuggets and some pieces of advice and wisdom that I picked over the years. So today's topic I really want to talk about is change, transformation, and perspectives. So over the last year or so, I have really been going through a lot of change. I think a lot of people have, especially with the whole pandemic that's going on, and it's really drawn out some qualities that I didn't think I had. It's really brought to the surface some fears that I thought I had. It's really made me look and reflect inwardly on a lot of things about me, how I operate, if I really know who I am, do I believe in a lot of the things that I say, that I tell people. And it's been exciting. I've uncovered a lot of things. I've been through a few challenges because of it. I've had to fight myself on some of it, especially when it came to my fears, this being one of them. Despite people telling me that I had a voice, despite people telling me that, look, you should be out there expressing yourself, sharing your light with the world, being in the spotlight hasn't always been easy for me. Even though I played some great roles in school, and my design passion when I was younger was actually to be an actor. Growing up, so much happened that it just made it seem a bit uncomfortable to be at the forefront. So I always prefer to work in the back. I'm an observer, so I observe a lot of things and I critique and I give a lot of good advice because of my observation, but I never wanted to be at the front. So this for me was one of those change pieces that occurred, especially in the last year, where I really had to kind of dig deep and just talk to myself and find out why I behaved the way I did and what led to it, and the things and the fears that have held me back from being at the forefront. I think one of the main things is there's so many motivational speakers out there. There's so many people who are giving advice. I just didn't want to be another person who comes out there and just blah, blah, blah. I really wanted to add value to people's lives. I really wanted to give good pieces of advice. I think one of the key things that I found out during my time away by myself is that a lot of people don't take the time out to think. I think we're in a generation where people are very much reactive. They follow the crowd more than thinking first. And so they lose their sense of individuality, they lose their sense of identity, and then almost feel lost. And I think that's the kind of era that we're in now, where a lot of people don't take the time out to think and think properly and think things through. And we are very, very reactive as opposed to being responsive, reflective, as I was saying. Change, yes. Change is hard. It's not easy, but alongside change is perspective. So right now I'm currently in a transition phase, and that has meant me looking at things very differently and thinking. Like I said, thinking is lost art in this generation, and I hope that we go back to it. I hope that before we make the choices, before we react to certain things, before we decide to follow the crowd, before we read a piece of information and just take it for what it is, we actually just take a minute to just think about it, its relevancy, its value, and whether or not your input is needed. I found that sometimes you don't actually need to do anything. You don't need to have an input in everything. You don't need to have an opinion of everything. Sometimes there's some situations that your mind will tell you, oh my God, you have to do this and go and do that, and this person said this and you have to do da. And all that chatter. At the time you just sit back and just say, okay, what relevance is this to me? How's that going to impact me? Is it going to add value? Is it being true to who I am? You realize that most things don't require an answer, especially if you know who you are, especially if you are full of positive energy and you just want positive vibe. There's a real element and real value in taking time out to think. So I've experienced that. I'm still in my transition phase. I'm still learning. I am still trying to find out who I am, although I have always believed that as a child, you know who you are. The influences of society doesn't help. Your environment doesn't necessarily help. You keep on that clear path of identifying who you are, and in the process it's very easy to lose yourself. In the process it's very easy to run with the crowd, to just do what they're doing, to feel how they're feeling without actually taking time out to just find out who you are as a person. I've certainly been lost in that, and therefore I'm re-engineering myself now, and I'm doing what I love. I actually, doing this has made me feel a little bit more confident. I was confident before, but I was very behind the scenes, shy kind of confident, and now sitting here I feel confident. I feel like I have value to add to people's lives. I think one of the other things as well is fear of people and fear of their opinions. I've lived under the shadow for ages. I've become a piece of furniture in a lot of people's lives, and that's not the way that I don't think God intended it to be, or even myself. There's a chapter, especially in the Bible, that talks about seasons and changes, and sometimes these things are very difficult to kind of transition through, especially when you're going through it, because you don't know what to expect, and you don't know how it's going to turn out, and you don't want to hurt feelings, and you just know innately that you're called for something, you're called to do something, you're called to be somewhere, to go somewhere, and you have to kind of get out of being comfortable in where you are. You have to kind of step out knowing who you are and just do it. And so that's the emphasis I've had, along with thinking, is to just do it. Do what you know that you have been purposed to do. And whether you're right or whether you're wrong, at least you took a step to becoming closer to knowing who you are, without having the outside noise, without having people's opinions and feelings interfere with where you know innately that you're supposed to be, and supposed to be going. So again, change is not necessarily easy, neither is transition, but I think that this is a period where a lot of people are going through that. A lot of people are finding out about themselves. They are going within, they're stopping to think, and I think that's a really key one. It's just stopping to think. Try and block out everybody and everything. It includes your nearest and dearest, and sometimes it's hard, and it's hard for them to understand. I think for you, you have to just be true to yourself, knowing that you're a good person, and knowing that you come from a place from love, and knowing that sometimes you outgrow these things, and not that people in your lives are not growing with you or keeping up to pace, but everybody has a journey and a path that they should live, and sometimes not everybody can go the whole journey with you. And those who finally get there, welcome them. Welcome them. Just because you're at one stage in your life doesn't mean that that stage that the other person isn't the right stage. It's the right stage for them at that moment in time, just like it's the right stage for you at the moment in time. So welcome them. Be attentive. Know that, especially if you've got a good heart and you want to do everything, you want to save the world, know that you can't save everybody. Everybody's got their own calling. Everybody has their own lessons, especially to learn. One of the things that I've been trying to kind of take my hand off is trying to rescue everybody. Not everybody's meant to be rescued. Your role as a person, especially in society and in this world, is to do good, do the best that you can. Pray for people. You cannot make choices for people. Only you can make a choice for yourself. And you've got to learn to leave things alone, especially when God has not called you to go there. Because then when shit hits the fan, you be asking, what did I do to deserve this? And nobody told you to go there. So there's some lessons that people need to learn, and you need to just leave well alone and let them learn their own lessons themselves. You are not here on earth to make those people follow your choices, your advice, your opinions. They have to come into their own alignment themselves. They have to find themselves their way. All you can do, like I said, is pray, give advice, the best advice that you can, but don't dwell on it. Pray to see the best in them, even see the outcome as the best for whoever it is that you're praying for or trying to help. One of the lessons I've learned is to step away, allow people to learn the lessons that they need to, because it helps them grow. Without you allowing people to learn those lessons, and with you always in their face, they'll never learn. And you'll get to a point in your life where you will wonder why they're so dependent on you. You also wonder, or you'll be hurt at how hard it is for you to detach, or how guilty you feel that you're not there and you're not helping and you're not. The purpose in this life is to, yes, love one another, but love yourself enough. And that means taking care of the things that you need to do, taking care of your purpose, taking care of your calling. It's a hard thing to do. Trust me, I felt selfish. I felt guilty. I felt like I'm not being a good friend, a good sister. But at the same time, I had to come to a place where I realized that if I carried on like this, then I wouldn't find my identity. I wouldn't come into my calling. I wouldn't come into my purpose, because I was so focused and fixed on trying to sort out everybody else that I forgot to help myself, and therefore I lose. And it's not about that everybody wins in this life. It just means that you have to learn the lessons sooner rather than later. And so that means me allowing, or you allowing, whoever it is to learn their lesson, so that they become stronger in character and person and true to themselves, and then they can grow just like you're growing. So change, transitions, perspective. Not everybody is going to have the same perspective as you. Even as I'm talking now, not all of you may have the same perspective as I do, and that is okay. I always compare it to looking at an elephant from two different sides and two different angles. You have two different views. Does it mean it's wrong? No, it just means that the perspective that you're looking at it from and the perspective that I'm looking at it from is just two different perspectives. Do I have to follow it? No. Does it have to be wrong? No. It just means that you have to allow a little room to open your eyes and know that people are going to have different perspectives. As long as you stay true to what you feel your perspective is in that time and moment, because it may change, and it's okay if your perspective changes. It's okay not to be right all the time, but there is such thing as perspective. So if it does happen to change, be open, be willing to allow those changes to come in. It may have been wrong at that moment in time, and it may have been right at that moment in time, but it's all about the time. It's all about what's happening at that time, and it can certainly change. So try and be open-minded about perspectives. People may not necessarily understand it, people may not agree with it, but it all boils down to how or what do you feel at that time, in that moment in time. And if you need to take some time out to think about that properly, thinking is key, think about it. Take time out to think about it. Don't rush. I always find that when I don't do anything at all, especially when it comes to something a little bit challenging, the situation always sorts itself out. I try not to overthink things as well. I always find that also helps as well when I just remove myself from the equation, and I just allow God to just lead. You have, whether you want to believe it or not, you have angels all around you. There are so many gifted things, people around that can easily come and help you sort out an issue, a situation, a thought. It's just about you allowing. It's about you taking your hand off, stepping back, and seeing what happens sometimes. And that goes alongside thinking. So thoughts is like, okay, how does the other person feel? If I was in the other person's shoe, how would I feel? I always like to use my daughter as an example in a lot of things. Would I permit that for my daughter? If my daughter came to me with this piece of advice, how would I advise? What would I say? And I always try to come out of myself as well. So inside myself and outside of myself. Temi, in your natural state right now, what do you think? All right, cool. If I was that person, how would I feel? If I did exactly the same thing, how would I feel? So I try to analyze a lot of things like that. And if I can't find the answer, the good old Bible, the good book. The good book. There is an answer in that book for everything. So if you can't find an answer straight away, I suggest you go to the Bible and you look for the scripture. That will help you. Take some time out, meditate, ponder. It's a good way to kind of refresh your mind, settle it, give you peace as well. That always helps me, and it also draws me closer to God, and it gives me a bit more clout and confidence to do what I'm going to do. But yeah, so it's been a period of change, it's been a period of reflection, and it's also been a period of perspective. And I just want to say that if you have any questions around it, feel free to email me. My email's inside the comment section. Feel free to just post a question here. I'm more than happy to kind of take time out to just answer those questions. But yeah, look after yourself. Get closer to knowing who you are. Get closer to being comfortable with saying no. Within reason. Get comfortable with looking after yourself and putting yourself first. Get comfortable with identifying with those things that make up who you are. Take time out to sit down and just think, what would I like to do? Because you know what, nothing is impossible. I've always had that notion and belief. It has been rocked over the years. People have told me, no, it's not possible, we're realistic. But let me tell you, nothing is impossible. Everything that you see around us was a thought. And people then thought it was impossible. Now we have flying cars. So, tell me again, you think anything's impossible? Nothing is impossible. So please, 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 dream big, as they always say. I know it's cliche, but if inside of you, you really believe, and you believe with everything in you that it is possible, then it is. The childlike quality in you knows that it is. So go out, pursue it, pursue who you are. Get rid of people's comments, negative emotions, things that have been said to you in the past, things that will put you off. Get rid of all of it and come back to being who you are. Sit down, think about who you would like to be, who you think inside your heart that you are, and just reach for it. Reach for it, do it, don't stop yourself, put you first with compassion and love. Don't isolate the whole world, but do take some time out to really identify with yourself, to really identify with who you are as a person, what you like to do, the things that make you happy, because essentially nobody else ain't gonna come and make you happy. You make you happy first and foremost, before anything, before any relationship, before anything. You make you happy. So start thinking about the things that make you happy. Start doing some crazy things. Take some walks outside, outdoors, and read books. I don't know. Just do something that makes you happy, that puts a smile on your face. start small, start somewhere, but just start. And build on it daily, make it consistent, and before you know it, you'll come back to truly knowing and identifying with who you want, and in that process you'll attract everything that is due to you. So take time out to kind of just know who you are. You're a powerful individual. Every person on this earth is a powerful individual, gifted. I believe every person on this earth is gifted. So take time out and really just kind of look within and find out who you are, and come out of this transition change with a new perspective, a clear perspective on you first and foremost, and then on your purpose afterwards. Thank you for spending time with me, for listening to me. Take what you want from it. Please, if you have any comments that you'd like to share, any disagreements, I'm open for criticism. Let me know, because I'm still learning. I don't know it all, but I'm just sharing what I've learned over the years. So please share with me, let me know. I'm more than happy to kind of hear from you guys. Until the next time, take care. Bye.